Okay, people should be able to hear both of us now, hopefully. Fingers
Hello.
crossed. It'll take a minute for it to catch up.
Yeah.
If people can hear us, let us know, so that we know you know.
Yes, they can hear us both.
Yay! Perfect. Okay. And the music as well. Hopefully everyone can hear that. Nice and clear. Lovely. Hello everyone.
How are we doing this evening?
Or morning. Or midday.
Yeah.
Wherever you are.
Time zones are a myth.
It's really about how you feel.
Yeah, I feel like morning's a state of mind.
I've always tried to say this, but all I hear in return is, Connor, why are you late? Connor, why are you not awake? Connor, you're fired.
That's why you start your own company.
You know what? I actually get up earlier now than I ever did when I had to. That's the most ADHD
like you
shit
could
ever, isn't it? It's just like when people were telling me to do it.
Yeah,
I was
you
like,
could
"No."
determine our work hours, and you still choose to work a 9 to 5.
Oh, hi everyone. Ajax, Tim, Jericho Outdoors, Emily, The Saiyan Legacy, Jedi. Hello everyone. It's here.
The soup has already started.
The soup's gonna go on forever. The soup's never gonna end, mate. Did you actually? Well, you lose the right to complain about it, mate. Oh, my cousin Harry's here as well. Hi, Harry. Harry did a bunch of... I don't know if he's in the chat, but he helped us with some of the writing for Fairy and some of the monster design as well. If anyone here's got Fairy, I assume some people do. Although you have a problem with the art, which we don't have to go into publicly. Loved Harry's monster design. Hated my artwork for it. Not just the face. Just the face. Yeah. Just the face. Hey. Hey, Kitsu. Oh, Tim just texted me and said they're not sure he can hear you, Aston. Say something, Aston. Oh, Aston's, you keep going quiet and I don't know why. Restart
Is it
capture.
because I keep moving around and articulating and therefore moving away from my mic?
I don't think so. I can maybe change it to, if I change it to window capture, maybe that'll do it. Say something.
Hello.
Okay. Hopefully everyone can hear Aston. If at any point during the stream I'm talking and you can't hear who's replying to me, that's shout it out because that means Aston's gone quiet and it's my fault. Thanks, Tim.
Or potentially Connor's talking to himself, which is a distinct possibility.
Okay, yeah, that is the. Hey, you never know. If I'm arguing, it's probably. Well, actually, no, that doesn't help either. To be fair.
No, we also do that.
Yeah. If I'm asking questions and then getting answers that you can't hear, there you go. Because that doesn't happen. Jericho's listening to us on the walk home from work. That makes me feel like we're a radio station, like an old-fashioned radio station.
Oh.
If you want to, shit. It's been raining here since the new year. It literally hasn't been dry all of 2026. That's true. That's true. Although it's 7 o'clock here and that feels like end of work time. So I don't know. Right, what are we going to go through today, Aston? Do you wanna run us through? Oh, you can't. You've gone quiet again. I can see the levels. God's sake. I don't know why this keeps happening. Oh my god. Hold on. Let me... Streamer mode is enabled. Usernames have been truncated. Okay. I don't know why. Let me... Maybe if I just disable streamer mode, it'll stop playing about. Lodestar radio. Okay, Aston, say another thing.
Hello. Welcome to
Okay, you're
Lodestar
definitely
Radio.
coming through now. I'm just gonna keep. I guess I'll just have to keep an eye on it and hope that it doesn't conk out again. Maybe if I. And then maybe if I do, and then I'll. Windowed projection. There we go. You've literally gone. As you said that, you literally went quiet again. I know. I think it's my fault.
Concerted effort.
I think it's my fault, and I don't know what's causing it.
Classic.
I'm not sure why it's doing that. I can start. Hold on. Let me try and start another Discord capture, and see if that helps. I could try a Mac OS audio capture. Try that. Application audio capture, Discord. Okay, say something, Aston. Okay, that's not coming through on that either. This is infuriating. Okay, I'll remove that. Yeah. And then I'll start this again. And then properties. And then I can't restart the capture. Restart properties. Maybe if I just do Discord window, maybe that'll do it. Okay, say something.
Hello.
Okay, you are coming through. Okay, I can see it. It's just gonna. It's gonna drop off at some point, and I have no idea why. Maybe it won't. Maybe this will be the time it doesn't. Okay. Just every time you say something, I'm just gonna look at the levels and make sure that.
Okay.
Yeah. You seem to be doing fine. Nothing seems to be happening. Nothing's going wrong at the minute. This all seems.
That's all we need.
Positive.
We're just working on good vibes.
Yeah. That's true.
Much like the company, this stream is held together with good vibes and duct tape.
Okay, I think we're okay. I think we're out of the woods.
Brad,
I think it'll be smooth sailing from here on out. I'm pretty confident.
I'm not gonna keep saying soup. I might just start banning people who say soup. I'm just gonna put that out there.
You don't get to do that. You put it in the update. Canonized it. You enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I kind of do. Anyway, so
to be honest,
tonight we'll be going through. So we're going to start off with the Battlewrought fighter feedback. We've had quite a few responses to the survey for that. So we're going to be talking through the general vibes around it, that people are enjoying it, any specific feedback, and giving any insights onto changes that we're going to make off the back of that feedback. Then we're going to run through both the Superstition Bard and the Comet Barbarian, the two new subclasses that we just released. I think it was 2 weeks ago tomorrow. So people have had a little bit of a chance to have a play with those. We can answer some questions. If people need any clarifications or have got any immediate concerns about balance and such. And then we're going to kind of open it up. We've got some previews of upcoming subclasses in the back pocket. We've also got time to just, answer some questions if people have got questions. Preferably not suit-based questions, but we can answer them.
It's like you want it. Oh, this is the thing. Excellent
I
job.
just know. So here's the thing. I just know it's going to get them interacting. It's all about engagement bait in this modern society.
Oh, okay.
And
we're saying the quiet part.
It's all it's all engagement bait. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to release a Dragon's Vault TikTok account where I exclusively talk about soup.
I'm just going to quickly see if I can... How do I mute... Is there a way to, mute all Discord notifications? So that my little beep sound doesn't keep coming up.
Yeah, it's in user settings. Somewhere.
Thanks so much for that.
Yeah, user settings notifications.
Okay, disable all... There we go. Notification sounds. Cool. Okay. Hopefully that'll mean the little beeps don't keep happening. Tim's just in the back being an audio engineer for us, which I really appreciate. And then
nice.
Maddie's also watching. She's texting me about levels. Okay. Lovely stuff. Did you mention that we'll be doing Blightmore as well? Yes. Okay, excellent. Aston's first adventure. Fully authored adventure. Woo! Okay. Oh, Bob can be here for a while because their session got delayed. Awesome. Hi. Hi, everyone. That never happens to us. Ever. Right, hopefully this works. Oh! Did this... When you shut up, Aston. Okay. I think that worked. Did that work? The PDF should pop up, hopefully. Oh, you have gone quiet again. Oh. That... It won't let me restart the capture, though. But then... Oh, but then when I click on it, you talk again? I think Discord's bugging out. I mean, I think OBS is. Okay. Aston is talking.
Classic.
Everyone heard him do the update, I think, of what we're going through because I saw the levels and they were fine. So...
You can see why, radio stations and stuff have, a whole job of audio engineer.
Well, yeah, you can. Hide the sidebar so it's full screen, I think. Hopefully that should... Is it working if I do that? No? Do I need to... There we go. When I loaded up OBS, I was like, ooh. Okay, this should work. There we go. Perfect. Okay, everyone should be able to hear the... Aston, say something. People can't hear you again.
Hello.
Okay, he just wasn't talking, I think. I don't think that was him disappearing. I think that was just...
I was just waiting for Connor to,
Okay.
catch up.
I've got the PDF up now as well. Everyone should be able to see it. The OBS settings, I was like, oh, look, they're all in place because we sorted it out last time. And then it's just been eating shit since the start for some reason. Right. So everyone should be able to see. There we go.
InDesign. When I went back to InDesign, and that I just decided it wasn't going to work for me anymore.
Yeah. It's just software. To be fair, I will say OBS did say, "Do you want to update because of these like hot fixes we've implemented?" And I was too nervous to do it because I thought maybe it would ruin things, and so I made the bold decision to not do that. And I think maybe that could be why it's suffering. Who knows? We can't confirm. It's probably not my fault. That's one thing we can all say for certain, I think.
So just to confirm, it is your fault.
No, it's probably not my fault, which I think we could, again, I think we're all happy to agree on that point. Jericho says we just need a sample.
Common Aston sayings.
What would be some common Aston saying? Oh, I know. One of them would be, "It's interesting," and then continue to anecdote. That's your favourite sentence setup, that is.
Yeah.
Okay, hopefully everyone can see this and they can see the cursor. Right. Okay, cool. Is the music still playing? It is still playing. Okay, we're doing fine. We've got this. It's all going great. Look at us go.
Yeah, we're only 16 minutes into the stream.
That's pretty good. I think. It's not like
this
we were
is why the last one...
half an hour to 45 minutes before the stream either.
This is why the last one took 4 hours, Connor.
All right, yeah, you're right. Let's listen. Let's lock in Aston, unprofessional.
Yeah, guys. Stop.
Did anyone here watch listen to the podcast we did with Rotating Heroes? I don't know if anyone did, but if you did, yell it in the chat.
We've had a couple of people in the Discord say that they've listened to it, which is nice.
Wicked. That's cool. There's no reason for that. It's completely irrelevant. I just thought I'd bring it up just in case.
I've also had a few people
totally
in my personal life ask if I was the goop or the guy.
We'll never know. That's not important. It's important actually that you don't clarify. It's like Tom Bombadil. It's no one's fucking business, frankly. You should be upset that they asked. Yeah, that's very true. Right, Aston, this was your baby. So do you want to talk us through, what should we do? Should we talk through, just like run down the basic like stuff of the subclass and then go into like the feedback we got and what changes we intend to make, if any? I'm sure it was perfect first time. So hold on, you've disappeared again. I caught it this time before you replied. Boom. Eat that, Discord. God.
Okay, so yeah, I think it's worth giving a general rundown of the Battlewrought. And then, because that way, while we're walking through it, anyone that has played it or has any thoughts about it, can also pipe up and ask questions and such. I know Kitsu has had a couple of clarifying questions, and I know a couple of other people in the Discord have. I don't know if everyone that had those questions is here, but we can talk through some of the feedback afterwards once people have got a rough idea of what's going on.
Perfect.
So,
okay, cool. Oh, hold on, you've gone quiet again. This is bad. I don't know how to fix this. I really don't know. It seems completely random, to be honest. And the PDF is also. I think this is a me problem. I know that was the lowest possible denominator. I know that was the thing that we really didn't think it was going to be. But I'm less confident. I'm starting to think it might be me. Maybe it isn't. Let's continue. We don't have a choice. We're rolling with it. You've gone quiet again. I'm going to hurt something. I don't know. I just have to keep restarting the caption. What the hell? What's going on? Hold on. Let me just wait. Before, listen. Hold on. I'm gonna quit everything on. Don't quit OBS. Oh no, that would be ridiculous. I'm gonna quit everything. Okay, and I'm gonna restart the captures on all of this stuff, and then I'm gonna restart the capture on Discord. And we're gonna. There we are. Okay, it's rolling. I think I might be able to tell when you go quiet based on when the scrolling stops working. So.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
See, the issue with that saying is.
Oh, and you've gone quiet again. No, I don't know what to do. This has never happened before. Discord, right? There's so many different Discords I can tie it to. Maybe if I don't tie it to Aston, I just tie it to like Discord. Window capture, display capture. That's gonna display every noise.
Surely you've got no other noise coming from your PC anyway, right?
No, I don't think I do. So if I just display capture like that, maybe that'll do it. But then it's like I don't understand why it keeps. This is wildly unprofessional, and I do apologize. I'm not. I don't know why. I think maybe it's fine. I'm just gonna have to restart the captures continuously, but that's okay. We can just keep doing that. Right, hit. Okay, start talking. If it goes again, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Okay, right. So, Battlewrought fighter. Inspiration for the fighter was just basically cyborgs. We're talking RoboCop. We're talking John Silver from Treasure Planet. Basically, the vibe is you're augmenting your own body to become the weapon yourself. And that's the entire inspiration behind the subclass.
I'm gone again. No, it's okay. I've got you. Keep going.
Okay. Obviously, for Lodestar, it's a little bit more kind of steampunkified and piratey in vibe. But this is the sort of subclass that you could very easily kind of reflavor into a bit more of a cyberpunk or sci-fi setting. Or, just because Ajak mentioned it, this is also, like, if you wanted to get real body horror with it, you could potentially do biological implants. Like, that's... Generally, the mechanics are just there for us to give you rules, and then you can reflavor them however you want. So the first level feature is kind of... The augmented body feature is kind of a, like, getting started feature. It's... You need it for your DCs. You need those to be explained somewhere. But also, I think it's a big failing of standard 5e that replacement limbs and such require attunement. I understand they're magical, but I think feels like an odd choice. So that's something I just removed from the cyborg because I also thought it was a fun little flavor options. But something that was brought up in the Discord was that generally these magic items replace lost limbs. There was the question asked whether we would allow kind of additional limbs to be used via prosthetic limb magic items. I don't think so. Just my immediate reaction would be because generally in terms of what you can hold and equip is kind of a balancing act in 5e. There are certain races and stuff that give you additional, like, you can hold this extra thing, but just being able to give you an extra set of arms would be quite, like, for example, a greatsword with a shield, ignoring the fact that that is a feature that this subclass gives you later on. Am I still working?
Yep.
Cool.
Don't worry, I'll yell if you stop.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm not being a great foil to you at the minute because I'm staring like a gecko, just like dead-eyed at the green line going up and down to make sure you don't drop out while you're describing all of the hard work you did.
I'll just keep talking.
Yeah, you keep going. So tell me if I want to scroll. Do you want to scroll or we're not? No, we're not scrolling.
Scroll. Yeah.
Scroll
we're about to go to augment hand.
Okay.
So the first kind of rock feature of the Battlewrought is obviously we couldn't do a cyborg in a pirate setting without immediately losing your hand. So the Battlewrought lets you kind of... It's very hunter not hunter. Yes, Ranger Hunter subclass from base 5e, where you kind of get different features and you get a choice as long as they fit within a kind of category. With the hand one, you get a choice between heavy-handed, chain hook, and wrist-mounted magazine. And the general thought was, with fighters in 5e, you've kind of got 3 categories. You've got a strength-based melee fighter, dex-based melee fighter, or dex-based ranged fighter. Because they're the kind of the 3 weapon categories that you might specialize into using fighting styles, feats, other things like that. I can hear myself, Connor.
Sorry, that's my fault.
Cool. And so, Augment Hand, heavy-handed, lets you lean hard into versatile weapons, and it's basically your strength melee option. Chain Hook was intended to be a dex-based melee option. However, I didn't specify dex anywhere, so that was a mistake in the playtest. That will be rectified in the final version.
Yeah, because we got some feedback about that, right?
Yeah, it was also something someone mentioned. And when I saw the feedback, I was like, I'm sure that was a thing already. And then I looked and it wasn't. But yeah, so the chain hook will be kind of a versatile option where you can use strength or dex. And then the wrist-mounted magazine is your kind of ranged option, which generally leans on firearms and crossbows rather than bows, because it's kind of a little bit difficult to bump up general bows without just making them more powerful. That feels like... And also, we weren't going to do a pirate subclass that lent on bows rather than guns and crossbows. But also, wrist-mounted magazine, as Kitsu pointed out, currently doesn't interact with the reload property of a bunch of like firearms, and also homebrew firearms that, like the Matt Mercer firearms, for example, and also the firearms that we're going to be using in Lodestar. So that is something that it's going to let you reload as a bonus action rather than as an action, just to kind of solidify the entire collection of ranged weapons there.
Yeah, we might end up working on, like, usually when you're creating like a source book like this, you like work on stuff like firearm mechanics and the more, like, I don't know, like DM appendix kind of rules later on. But because it interacts with this and with the spell powder wizard, yeah, it's one of those things where it's sort of like you want to... We'll probably end up working on those sooner rather than later, so that we can make sure all of those like things are working with each other. If, like, for example, if there's anything we want to do differently with firearms, because obviously we've not looked into it yet, so I don't know exactly across the board to capture that like piratey setting vibe. We'll establish those in mechanics in the book and make sure they're completely in line with all of the source, with all of the subclass stuff as well.
Yeah, it was a big thing with the spell powder wizard as well, because that interacts with 3 base firearms, but those firearms aren't then exclusive to the wizard. So we need to make sure those features kind of fit within the setting as a whole and not just are built for a spell powder or a cyborg.
Yeah.
And then...
Do you want to go through any more feedback for any of this, or do you want to move on to next?
Let's have a look, see if there was any specific feedback in these features. Yeah, there wasn't any general, like, specific feedback about the hand options other than the dex based,
the need for the dex
reload property. Generally, they all averaged on 3+, which is pretty standard. Wrist mounted magazine got 1 slightly lower mark. I can only assume that was you, Kitsu, after obviously not including the reload property. But yeah, that is something that we are kind of rebalancing, make sure they're all valid options for something that you want to play with. For the eye augment, again, obviously if you're a pirate, you got to lose an eye. You got to have a eye patch. The 3 options here, we generally found that expandable spyglass averaged a little bit lower than the other 2.
Is this one of those, like, there's an obvious choice here kind of ones in terms of rebalancing? Or
I think it was a bit of a cross between. So auto expanding iris was very good.
Which is up here.
Yeah, it's the top of the next page.
Yeah.
And silt detector was also very good, whereas expandable spyglass was kind of fine as a ribbon ability. So it's something that I kind of want to go away, and I don't want to take away any of the fun of the other two, but see what I can do in terms of expandable spyglass to make that a little bit more interesting.
Yes. Oh, bye, Bar.
Because
have a good session.
Bye. Have fun. Don't kill your players. Or
We'll,
do.
yeah, we'll read chat
Goodbye.
after we'll go through this, and then we'll check on chat in a moment as well. Just wanted to.
Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, expandable spyglass is a bit of a difficult one because you kind of want a standard option for the less magically inclined of the flavored cyborgs. But it is also difficult to just be like, you can see everything.
I should, to be fair as well, because you use the word ribbon ability there. I just want to clarify for anyone that doesn't know, because that might be like more of a design mechanical piece of language. But when we say stuff like rock and ribbon, I actually don't know who originated those terms. I should know that. But basically, in game design, a ribbon ability is something that is like less mechanically potent but important, flavorful stuff. So it's stuff that's like the Augment Eyes is a nice example, right? Where it's not a straight combat buff in any way, but it does give you these nice, maybe out of combat and sort of like more passive abilities. And then a rock is something that's like foundational to the design itself. And a good subclass, like some subclasses have a already kind of determined layout where it's like you get ribbon at this level, rock at this level. Some of them are a bit more open and whatnot. But if we use those terms, that's what we're talking about basically, is either a rock is an ability that's really like important and foundational, and a ribbon is something that that sort of boosts the feeling and vibe of a piece of design, but doesn't necessarily add loads of like mechanical strength to it. But there you go. Okay.
Yeah, I think a big example of that would be the Archdruid ability. That means you like age at 1/10 the rate. Functionally, ribbon. In a lot of games, never going to come up mechanically, but makes you feel like a druid in terms of vibes. So that is
even like barbarian danger sense maybe is a bit more of a ribbon ability compared to like say rage. Rage would be like rock foundational. Yeah. Danger sense is more of a ribbon. Cool. Okay. So that's I. Do we want to look through chat now and just see if there's anything?
Yeah. Let's see where we're
staring at audio levels.
So, a brain inside a mechanical body count as a cyborg? I don't see why not. If that's a fun character, I guess. Like, that's a fun concept for a construct-based character.
Yeah, like a cyborg is just anything that's part organic, part robot, right?
Yeah, and also, like, I think the best bit about this subclass is it doesn't even have to be a cyborg. It is just a creature that is replacing bits of themselves with other bits and that are better in combat in some way. Whether that is, like, if you want to rip all of the flavor out and make that, like, a mutation-themed character who is getting, like, mutated features to become better in combat.
Right.
Or a robot that is slowly transforming themselves. There's a bunch of options here for flavor, and I don't see why.
You could do an Iron Giant thing where it's like you're a robot, a battle robot, like parts of you are awaking as you understand your programming more. That would be sick too.
Sick. I want to do an Iron Giant stat block.
Or like, what's his name? Clank from Ratchet and Clank.
Sick. The best media of all time.
That's an important cultural touchstone for us.
Yeah. Can a cyborg have a Wi-Fi hotspot? Wi-Fi doesn't exist in Lodestar, so no. Even putting multiple prosthesis effects on the same augmented limb. I guess. This is going back to the clarification earlier from not having multiple prosthesises. I guess that would, because as far as I know, Kitsu, you're the DM for your group. I think that's something that's kind of down to you in terms of making the magic item. Because obviously, if your prosthesis has a magic item, it kind of magic ability, like the Hand of Vecna, for example. A trade-off for using the Hand of Vecna is that you have to lose your own hand. So I think it would, as far as any magic items that already exist, it might feel a little bit cheap if a player could just be like, I attach all of the objects that look like body parts to myself, and I get all of the abilities from them, and just kind of rest the Eye of Vecna on their hand or something. But again, I think that's more DM clarification than us clarification. The level 15 ability feels really high to allow for swapping of parts around. Was there a thought of allowing change either as a ritual feature or per level up? I do think it could be fun, like much like the Tasha's clarifications for like sorcerers and things like that, to allow the swapping of augments earlier on like a level up or a long rest or something. I think potentially level up, because the intent of them is they are meant to feel quite permanent. And if you make it per long rest, that can feel very like I'm a Swiss Army knife rather than I'm slowly adapting my body.
Yeah, it was a conversation we had,
changed.
wasn't it? Like like when we were doing the early design for it, as to like whether or not you want it to be like, whether we were imagining it's something that's like, is it about adaptability, where it's about like readily changing stuff, or is it more of a thing of like, you've got a sort of play style and you're picking features that are aligning with your play style, which like in our experience isn't a thing that changes too much for players as they progress. Like people don't tend to want to complete shift their play style. Obviously there's exceptions, but in general with design wise, you know, but a level
I can see
work.
the iron leg augments kind of being swapped around a little bit, but for the hand one, for example, I think if you are of a playstyle where the heavy-handed augment benefits you, it is then unlikely that you're ever going to want to swap to wrist-mounted magazine, unless again you've had like a big character moment where you've completely switched your vibe up. But again, a big point of the fighter is that they can kind of do a bit of everything. So I think kind of meeting in the middle and putting it on a level up is kind of a happy medium for that.
Yeah, that could be I agree.
Session starting, yep. In theory, you could use this subclass to play a cursed Pinocchio Warforged character who wants to become a real boy by implementing biological augments. That's horrific. Terrifying, and it's incredible. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of body horror, except when Connor uses it against me in the game.
Yeah, really weird. Yeah, really weird.
Yeah,
it's like big fan of it as long as it's over there, not you know.
Yeah,
falling down a hall.
I'm a fan of it. Yeah, I'm a fan of it in concept.
Well, to be fair, I will say that's the reaction you should have. Really fun when it's happening to someone else. Really not fun when it's happening to you. That's true. Yeah.
Potentially using a spyglass for ranged attacks. Something in there. The issue with putting it, kind of tying it to a ranged attack option, would be kind of more solidifying it as a bit more of a rock feature, like we were discussing earlier. Yeah. Whereas the other two don't really have combat buffs. They're kind of more utility abilities.
Yeah, it is a tricky one with balance, I suppose. Yeah, and like I will say the eye one, it does seem like the one that maybe, like for example, the hand augment, you're picking a play style, whereas with the eye one, from the way you've designed it, it's a bit more like, because it's sort of 20% mechanics, 80% contributes to the flavor. You could see them functioning with all of the choices prior, right? Instead of it determining a single line through the entire subclass.
Yeah, for sure.
Currently.
Rocks are crunch, and mechanic and numbers ribbon is flavor, vibe, and roleplay. Yes.
Ribbon. I will say ribbons are mechanics too. It's just about how much. That's all it is. It's like 2080 sort of mechanics to vibe. That's ribbon. 2080 vibe to mechanics. That's rock.
Do you think people were potentially not accounting for the scale of ship battles with expandable spyglass? Over 100 foot away feels like a lot in most campaigns. That is also a potential. Like, the intention for expandable spyglass was that it was going to be used in terms of space. Which,
yeah, I suppose. I mean, it is spyglass, isn't it? That does make that does make sense.
Like, I do potentially understand that a lot of people could look at that and go, well, when is that ever going to be useful? If they're more used to playing kind of a standard Faerun D&D adventure, when they spend a lot of their time in forests and dungeons, where nothing is ever 100 feet away unless it's in your face.
Yeah.
But potentially that could change the utility of it. But also, like, a lot of subclasses won't just be used in Lodestar, for example. So
yeah, we do. It's a weird one. Like, we do
functional outside of our settings.
We do like to try and make our design obviously built into the setting as much as possible. That's why it's part of a source book. But we always have conversations about, like, yeah, but what if someone was using it outside of it? We don't want to, like, we're very careful not to lock it into lore too much, or setting demands too much.
Like Silt Detector, for example, that's a fun little reference if you know where the source book and the lore where it came from. But mechanically, that will function in whatever setting you are playing in.
Yeah.
So it is just kind of it's like a fun little tie-in. Love that you know Ratchet and Clank. Me and Connor talk about Ratchet and Clank on a very regular basis. It is my favorite game series of all time. I could talk about it for hours. Yeah, I think we're pretty caught up. If a cyborg replaces every part of themselves one piece at a time, are they still the same guy? At that point, their character, they become Theseus, who is a terrifying cyborg NPC that I've just come up with.
Right, should we do leg? Because I really want to get to leg.
What is that, Connor?
I just really like the names. I just think he did. This is some of the best work you've done, actually. Is like what I think.
Cool. So, Augment leg. So again, we're talking about bits of a pirate that are generally going missing. We got your eye, we got your hand, and then obviously we got to give you a peg leg. Oh, some sort of mechanical / magical.
Okay, I've gone completely mute.
Oh, finally. So guys, how are you all doing today?
Okay, I can hear now.
Sorry,
I just went silent for no reason. I just couldn't hear Aston. I could hear him talking. Sorry to interrupt. I don't know where I jumped in and said I can't hear you at, but
that's fine. I was just waiting. Okay. So
hit it.
We gotta give you a peg leg of some sort, mechanical or magical in vibe. So this was it was more of a rock-based ability, but it was specifically movement-based. So movement, the way you interact with the terrain, things like that. So we've got 3 fun, incredibly well-named options. Mm-hmm. We've got retractable bipod, which is
not really the star of the show naming-wise, but that's fine. Kind of the
retractable bipod, really fun, specifically interacts with ranged attacks again. So giving our ranged fighters a little bit more love. And also it was the idea and vibe of retractable bipod was specifically leaning on the steady aim cunning action that some rogues get, I think from Tasha's. So it was kind of a way to introduce something like that where you sacrifice movement to become better at shooting, because it's not something that's really kind of there in 5e. Then we have Rocket Peg, which is a hover speed ability, which is perfectly named again.
Yep. Rocket Peg leg. Peg leg, that's what, obviously. Carry on.
Yeah, it is an ability that gives you a small rocket booster on the bottom of your peg leg, and gives you the ability to slow your feet, slow your falling, much like a feather fall spell. But isn't a permanent fly speed, just because I know some DMs absolutely hate permanent fly speeds, so it is just a hover speed on your turn.
Also, I think a permanent fly speed does just inherently become, like, a lot of the time, like, the one to pick. You know, it's
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're a ranged option, like it's just cool. I hover 60 feet above the battlefield and rain down hell.
Yeah.
And then we have the Deck Gripper, Also,
here's the thing. Here's the thing is, but I don't want to keep interrupting, and that is right. But
yep.
I just it's so much better the fact that it follows up Rocket Peg, you know. I think by itself it's actually not as strong, but I think the naming wise, going from Rocket Peg to Deck Gripper is, you know, it feels calculated. Anyway, continue on.
Because if you don't pick Rocket Peg, you will have a Deck Gripper, obviously. And so that's very much kind of like the big, more slow vibe, being able to like use your momentum against enemies and things like that. That is the vibe of the 3 leg augments. Rocket Peg and Deck Gripper might get renamed because we've had a few people point things out.
I want to say, I pointed it out before it ever got published, and Aston forgot to change them. So that's what happened.
I forgot to change them, but Connor still put together the PDF and released the PDF.
That's not my job. That's not my job.
I think
I was on the visuals. I wasn't.
I think we're all at fault for this.
No. No. There's a lot of things I'm happy to put my name next to yours on. Rocket Peg and Deck Gripper can firmly sit under your name alone. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, next feature.
Deck Gripper gives you giant mechanics.
It gives you something.
How else are you going to grip the deck?
And why would you need to grip the deck? Yeah. Rocket Peg.
Yeah.
Move on. Next feature.
So then, Adaptable Augment. So again, this was 15th level features for fighters are generally ribbon abilities, so less mechanically powerful. And so Adaptable Augments was big on... We also didn't want to just keep giving augment abilities because it's very easy to just start ripping off bits of fighters just to make them... Like, there was a whole section where we were like, maybe do we give them like a chest augment that like maybe swaps their lungs out or different organs? But then that just ended up getting very like, are we now thinking of bits we can take away from a fighter just to give
what
them
organs
have
we got left to swap out?
Yeah, like there was a whole version where the 15th level feature, like there was potentially like giving them Dragon's Breath as an augment, or like giving them the ability to like ignore poison effects and things like that. But instead, we settled on adaptable augments.
We can always be magic items that, you know, like armor sets and things like that replace. You know, I mean, it would be cool to really expand on some. Like 5e's done some of the like prosthetic stuff, but they're a little bit lackluster. You know, like
and like this subclass still has with the third level feature, it still has the synergy with those items.
Yeah.
So that's still like a fun little inclusion that we can make. So adaptable augments just kind of lets you swap on the fly. Up until this point, you will have been able to swap on a level up, but at this point,
as per the feedback that we
as we've settled on. Whereas now, whenever you make use of Second Wind or Indomitable, so kind of your the abilities you're going to be using pretty regularly as a fighter to bolster or heal yourself, you're going to be able to make a quick swap of those. Or you can do it whenever you take a short or long rest, provided you have access to your tools. So again, just a pretty nice utility feature, and also I don't know how much in combat swapping it's going to get use of, but I think that could be like, we always try and think of these like clutch cinematic moments for our subclasses, and the ability to like get a fly speed when you use your Second Wind feature, for example, could be the thing that saves a party.
Yes.
Versus some other features, and that's we kind of like opening doorways for big cinematic moments in some of our mechanics. And then 18th level feature, Perfected Form. Basically, you're more cyborg than not at this point. You've become a construct in addition to your other types. We very specifically had to say in addition to your other types, because if we didn't, you wouldn't be able to heal, which is unfortunate.
Oh, yeah, because I was going to say, because I don't know what benefits that has other than it just being cool. I guess it's just cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just vibes. Cool. Pure vibes.
Yeah.
because the original draft of it was you just become a construct, and then I went away and I was like, you can't cure wounds that creature anymore, which is a huge nerf. Yep, and then so immunity to poison and poison condition at 18th level. It's not a huge ability to become immune to those conditions and damage type, but again, it's kind of a fun little thing that is still good mechanically.
Yeah, all adds to the the flavor of being more mechanical than not.
Yeah, the flavor and the fantasy that you are wanting to fulfill with all of this. And then being able to hold your breath indefinitely, very useful in a space setting. Also different from not needing to breathe. That is just a fun little mechanical difference there. It's the difference between, I believe, the water genasi and the air genasi. One of them doesn't need to breathe underwater, and the other one can hold their breath indefinitely. And then finally, it just kind of gives you a big buff to your hand augment, which generally, if you're playing a combat-based fighter, it's going to give you a big buff to whatever combat style that you play with. So if you're playing with like the kind of Dexy mobility fighter, your chain hook gets a big buff. Heavy-handed makes big, heavy weapons pretty powerful. And then wrist-mounted magazines, again, just massively buff your ranged weapons.
Which, yeah, because, I mean, you could have added, again, you could have done the same thing you spoke about before, where it's like you rip out a whole different section of organs and like augment those. But I think having a buff to whichever one you picked is nice. Because otherwise you have to have the scale a little, like with the subclass, and that it becomes quite difficult to do that without it becoming extremely wordy, especially when you've already got like loads of options. So
also a big concern of just providing more and more options is the fact of like you have to balance every potential possibility. Like you don't want a perfect version of the cyborg where if you pick this and this option, then they become technically invincible because of this weird rule loophole. And so kind of limiting them to kind of 3 big choices that you get to make that don't really interact with each other mechanically. That means that you get the vibe and the fantasy of being a cyborg, but we don't have to balance around 70 million permutations of the class.
Cool. Okay, so that's the entire subclass broken down. Do you want to look at chat for a moment before we talk about any additional feedback we got?
Giant mechanical toes. Deck gripper is a great inclusion, especially that it is not a magnet.
Oh, Jericho works at a board game cafe. Sorry, that's cool.
Oh,
that's really cool.
Cool. Do they want to sell Dragon's Vault products? You know, just out here making moves. Mechanical liver to also hold on. If you're working, I don't feel like you should be. I appreciate it, but
no,
I don't
Jericho's
feel like
on the way back. They're on the way back.
Oh yes.
Come on.
Mechanical liver to gain permanent advantage on con saving throws when excessively drinking. Now that sounds like a fun magic item.
Also, I kind of feel like immunity to the poison condition could be, you know.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that once you're immune to the poison damage and poison condition, you can't get drunk anymore. Or you can get drunk, but not like dangerously so. Depending on how kind your DM is.
Yeah. Or how chaste, you know?
Yeah. Good to be able to pop the range when you second wind to fall back. Yeah, that is true. Being able to pop those on kind of your self-support features means that if you kind of have to make a change to the playstyle because you have to play more defensively or more aggressively, you can make those changes, which, like you say, is really fun. Does Rocket Peg have a weight limit, or can you theoretically have your party just grab onto you and slow the whole group? That is a good question that I didn't clarify. I think I would specify in the writing of that it would be your kind of carry capacity.
Yeah.
Much
what
like
is it?
All of the it's for the Featherfall reaction on Rocket Peg.
I have to check the wording maybe of the Featherfall spell and double check.
Well, Featherfall's like you select up to like 5 creatures.
Right.
So,
but it doesn't specify
I guess it would be
anything in terms of your carry weight, does it? When you do that?
No, it doesn't.
No. So maybe it just saying you is probably enough, and I think that's probably. I'm not sure we have to specify. A lot of this stuff I do kind of like. It's nice to leave it open because it means you're gonna have to argue with your DM about it, and like that's what it's all about.
And we have a Discord where if your GM disagrees with us, you just come to the Discord and ask the makers of the subclass, and we can be like, no, we agree with your player.
Depending on how we're feeling, we might change our minds. Sometimes it's nice to cause conflict.
Yeah, you know? We could just throw you under the bus and be like, we never said that.
Yeah, don't trust us.
That's not true. Yeah.
It depends how funny it is.
Yeah, that's very true. But that's the Battlewrought. That's the vibe of it.
Banging.
Feedback, again, we've kind of been through all of the big points of feedback of the Battlewrought. Which is really nice because there's no big, like, this feature doesn't work, or we hate this feature, or this feature's broken. It's really nice that there's only been, like, a few little clarifications more than inconsistencies in the rules. It seems like people really enjoy it, which is always a huge win.
It is.
And none of you guys have pointed out the names. It's only Connor. So
that doesn't. I don't know what kind of argument you're making there. I could listen if we need to. Well, I can have more people look at those names, Aston, if we need to. I'd rather not, for your sake.
If our community doesn't notice, and
they
only
notice.
You do, I think that's
they notice. They're being nice.
Yeah, it's because they interact with me more than you do.
That's your job. My job's my job's to point this out. You know, that's all I'm doing.
They have to be nice to me.
I just want to point. I'm just pointing. That's all I'm doing. I didn't even say anything. I'm just highlighting. Right. We can probably skip the magic items for now, can't we? And the spells. Unless you think they're super important, because we've already been on for like an hour, and we might want to move on to other subclasses and other stuff. Should we move on to the latest playtest? That's playtest 2, isn't it?
Yeah. And this one's all your baby.
Yeah. Which one's this one? It is.
Superstition Bard and Comet Barbarian.
Yes. Okay. Let me get these. Let me get this up. Where is it? Playtest 2. There we go. Ooh, no. There we go. Okay. Can everyone should be able to see this, hopefully. And still, Aston, can you say something just to make sure I can still hear you when I change window?
Hello.
Okay, we can still hear you. Great.
Sick.
Yeah, this one's me. Okay, so this was the latest. When did this get released? This was the start of this month, right? Early February?
Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks, yeah.
Okay,
tomorrow.
so we still got a couple of weeks before the playtest feedback comes back on this one.
Yep.
Right, so what we've got here is the Barbarian Path of the Comet and the Bard College of Superstition, which Aston really wanted to write, the College of Superstition, because when we brainstormed it together and you were very excited about it, but I had to do it instead. We were divvying out. Aston had to finish up Blightmore, and so I got, and you'd already taken some subclasses like we've already seen, so I got dibs. But we'll go through Barbarian first. We actually initially bounced like back and forth a lot on what to do with the Barbarian, because the Barbarian sort of it's a hard one in terms of subclasses, because it's like if something doesn't immediately jump out at you, you don't want to like force something.
Yeah, they can be difficult because unlike fighters, they don't have we do a bunch of different stuff that you can play on. They don't they have to be generally strength based. They don't have spells or schools or they're very build a subclass for a strength based martial.
Yes.
And that can be very difficult sometimes if you don't immediately have the vibes.
Yeah. They tend to be quite traditionally simpler, I suppose, and it all tends to be obviously revolving around rage. They're very it's obviously tied to rage. So with this one we talked about the idea of and especially trying to tie it to space and piracy and stuff. And we didn't. These don't have flavor text because we're just working through stuff at the minute and wanted to get the mechanics out. But the vibe of the barbarian, like the Path of the Comet, is a sort of like interstellar, galactic, spacey kind of magical rage that turns you into like a hurtling object. I think I was largely envisioning like the cinema of it rather than the mechanical lore that would go along with it. I was just the idea of turning into a burning ball of fire as you like smash into things was just wicked. So
yeah, we are just gonna have to work out where the Path of the Comet barbarians fit in within the canon of Lodestar.
I don't think it'd be too. We can back justify it. Whenever I've got to lean on like which pedal, it's always whatever's I think is the coolest. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so at third level, again, like feature-wise, I feel like you end up quite light with barbarians in general, unless you add like a whole table thing, like the wild magic or... But the basic gist of the Path of the Comet is you do big jumps and you land hard.
Yeah.
So, because we spoke about doing a throwing barbarian, didn't we? But... Or sometimes into people or things or whatnot. We spoke about doing like a throwing barbarian at one point, but there's a few subclasses that kind of already touch on that, isn't there? Like the giant one, I think.
Yes.
It already does that.
The giant one is actually quite annoying because it does quite a lot and it does them all very well. And
so they're just taking away the stepping on toes that don't exist yet. Taking up all the ground.
It's like, why have you got to make good subclass wizards? It's unlike you.
Scathing, absolutely scathing. I'm glad this was an hour in and no one from Wizards is going to hear this. Okay, so at third level, either as using the bonus action that you use to rage, or as or as a bonus action on later turns whilst raging, you can choose to leap a number of feet equal to your walking speed from a solid surface. We didn't specify height and direction, but I think specify. This might come in the feedback, but I'm thinking, and it was a bit of discussion in the Discord about it. I think might specify a bit more about using like the standard jumping rules from standstill, like basically giving you the ability to do a running, horizontal or vertical leap, just from standstill, so you can use those rules to determine, the vibe. Like the parameters of what those leaps have to encompass, because I didn't want to add loads of text about like you can jump X feet high, and it gets really difficult, the trigonometry of moving through three-dimensional space with jumps.
Some movement rules in 5e can be really difficult to explain.
Yeah, I suppose they're just there to just in case, aren't they?
Sometimes it's like you just leap.
Yeah. And I would like it to have an arc. Is it a parabolic arc? Is that what it's called? I would like the leap to have an arc. I don't know how much I need to specify that in the class. And I don't want the barbarian. Someone did say in the Discord, I think, that the barbarian might just lose its subclass if there's a ceiling. And I don't want that. So we'll figure out some language that makes sense around that. But when you do leap, you sort of generate a comet-like icy corona around you. And so that when you land, either as part of the leap or immediately after landing, you get to do a sort of Nova damage, which is currently a D6 plus half your barbarian level. We couldn't decide exactly what a good amount of damage would be. This is, I think, the same as the Zealot Barbarian does. Or maybe, does the Zealot Barbarian do a D8? I don't know. So it's comparable, but you just also get a big old jump with it. So that's third level, Blazing Bound. At sixth level, you get Brutal Landing, which allows you to turn falling damage you take into like an AoE shockwave effect, essentially. So whenever you would take falling damage, you can choose to channel some of the momentum into an impact shockwave. You reduce the falling damage you take by half, and all of the creatures within 15 foot of the space you land must make a dex save or be knocked prone and take force damage equal to the amount of falling damage your falling damage was reduced by before any resistances or immunities. Because the original version I wrote before Aston gave it a pass on that was synergized with the Barbarian Rage resistance as well. So you were getting like, 3/4 reduction going out in the shockwave. And you can use that once per rage, which you're probably only going to use it once per rage anyway, I would assume. You could stack it with Blazing Bound, so you could just jump straight up and then...
Or if you've got a wizard with telekinesis that wants to spend their turn throwing you up in the air.
Yeah, I honestly think the best way to use this feature is to use other party members, basically.
Oh, for sure.
You know? Have the druid, yeah, eagle. For sure. Jump off the back of an eagle. You know, like, is it Bjorn from The Hobbit in the Battle of Five Armies, where he jumps off the back of an eagle into a bear midway, and then, you know? Or I think, doesn't Critical Role, didn't Grog do that at one point? Like, jumped out of a gem or some shit and cut someone in half.
Yeah, and then Marisha does it as well. Fastball special.
Yeah, it's rad. It's awesome. I to be fair, because I think, isn't there a spell in Tempest that does it that I designed? Thunderous Impact. Is that published?
Yeah,
I think it is.
Yeah, it is.
I really like it. I love falling and hitting.
We really like the idea of
yeah.
It is very fun. And very cool.
So this isn't like incredibly potent, but it's wicked. And I'll fight anyone on that. And then at 10th level, you get Deep Impact, which doubles all of your damage to objects and structures whilst raging. Obviously a reference to the... Is Deep Impact the good one? There's two of them that came out at the same time that are about asteroids hitting Earth, and I can't remember...
Armageddon.
Armageddon's the good one. We've referenced the worst one.
Yeah, Armageddon's the don't want to miss a thing one.
Is that the one where they train a bunch of oil rig operators to be astronauts?
Yeah, they send miners to space because obviously that's easy.
The one with Ben Affleck. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember an interview where Ben Affleck's like asks the director why they wouldn't just train astronauts to use an oil rig, and the director's like, "Shut up."
Yeah.
But yeah, so. Deep Impact doubles all the damage you deal to objects and structures. And then if you collide with an object as part of your Blazing Bound leap, the object takes force damage equal to your Barbarian level, which is doubled. If that damage reduces the object to 0 hit points, your leap continues on uninterrupted as you travel through it, leaving a hole in your wake. If this damage doesn't reduce the object to 0, the leap ends and you immediately fall. That's going to be a playtest balance one, really. I have no idea.
Scrolling on the stream, by the way.
Yeah. Is it not? Oh, it's not. Interesting. It's not going as far down as I need it to. Oh, it's because there's not a second page. Maybe if I do this. There we go. That works. Okay, let's do that. Now everyone can see the ability. Apologies. Yeah, I think that's just one that's going to need to be tested before we know how good it is. If it's too good, if it's not good enough. It's hard to just guesswork that one, really. You mentioned, Aston, the possibility of using it to go through the hull of a ship.
Yeah.
Which
I think is bad.
I think would work. I think, and I'm okay with that working. You know? There is the less danger of sinking in space. Like, it's not like water's just going to go straight in.
Yeah,
although,
I think having a hole in the hull of your ship is less of an issue in a Spelljammer-esque setting.
Yeah.
Because there's like, we don't have a vacuum.
No, not in the same way, you're right. So yeah, so I think we'll see how that one plays, see what the feedback is on that, and tweak accordingly. And then your final subclass feature is Violent Vitrification, which is that when you land after using your Blazing Bound or Brutal Landing ability, you become encrusted in the ice of your Corona. You gain 10 HP equal to your Barbarian level, and whenever a creature hits you with a melee attack, whilst those hit points remain, they take cold damage equal to half your Barbarian level, which is a sort of Armor of Agathis style piece of design that makes it... It's a defensive feature for the Barbarian, which was it? Is it always that at 14th level? It's not, is it, Aston? It's not always defensive.
No.
What was it that we found out? Is it Warlock or something like that? Always has a defensive feature at a certain level. But yes, giving a sort of part of like becoming the tank, but also dealing damage whilst you take damage. Felt like a nice subclass capstone feature. We went back and forth a little bit on the damage, didn't we, in terms of how much it deals, and settled on half the barb level at the moment. But we'll see. We'll see. I think that those are the biggest parameters I'd like to have people play with and test out for us, really, is like how the damage levels feel for a barbarian.
I think, again, barbarians are a difficult one because they're just so good. Like, a barbarian without a subclass is pretty potent anyway.
Yes, yeah.
So, like, the worry is when you're doing fun and interesting subclass features that you just kind of do the Zealot Barbarian thing where they just become the best barbarian at this thing.
Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah. It's just going to be a, like, you know, put it in the water and see how it goes, kind of thing. So that's Path of the Comet, and then the second one we've got is College of Superstition Bard, which. Again, we are initially when we were discussing Bard, because we've released Tempest a few years ago, and that's a swashbuckling pirate source book, and a lot of the tropes and archetypes that we would be interested in including in Lodestar come from the same source materials as Tempest. So the obvious thing was like a shanty bard, but we did already do that, and I think we were both really stoked with the design for that.
I really like our original Shanty Bard.
Yeah.
For anyone that hasn't played Tempest, the Shanty Bard is based around the idea of creatures getting passive buffs while they hold on to your bardic die. So it's not all about what happens when you spend the die. It is the idea that the longer you keep hold of it, you get different bonuses and stuff from the features.
Yeah. Sort of like the idea of picking up the song and singing it. So with this one, we had to come up with something different, and it took us a little while. But then we landed on the idea of Superstition being a really sort of time-honored maritime tradition. The idea of sailors picking up superstitions and holding on to them, and that having a sway on the mythology and the knowledge of, like, the sea, or in our case, the silt, and the setting in general. And Aston was the one who pitched the idea of what essentially became like the crux feature of this subclass, which is like reverse inspiration, basically.
We really like taking class resources and fucking with them.
It's the best thing to build off of, honestly.
Yeah. Like, I enjoy whenever I build a sorcerer, how can we use sorcery points in a fun and interesting way? Monk, key points.
Yeah. Limitations
bard,
make for better creative choices, right? Like, I feel like we say it a lot, but it's really important to have a box so that you can think outside of it, and those resources having like
and
that
also
being tied to that is great.
Like, Wizards already did all of the work by making the class resource function in a specific way, so we might as well just piggyback off some of that work.
Yes.
And just be like, just kind of steal it.
Well, I think it's just using like the base of those interesting mechanics to then make them novel, or use them for a novel reason, right? Instead of having to come up with an entire new point pool mechanic that you have to know in order for it to function. The only time those really work, I think, is in classes that don't already have them baked in, like Battlemaster Fighter. Like, having a pool of Battlemaster die works really well because the class isn't dealing with any other resource like sort of things, right? Whereas if you give something like that to Sorcerer, it's like, okay, so spell slots plus sorcery points plus that, you know? I'm not saying you couldn't do it, but you get a bit hat on the hat kind of thing.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so the Superstition Bard, it basically functions by giving its inspiration to enemies. So in the same way that you would bestow an inspiration die on an ally normally as a bard, with the College of Superstition, you bestow those die on enemies as superstitions rather than inspirations. So they function. The intent is that they function the same in terms of like die size, and you use a bonus action to bestow them. And so actually kind of does build somewhat on the Shanty Bard that we were speaking about, whereby essentially these superstition die, we'll call them from now on, provide a passive Bane, like debuff, as long as the creature's holding on to the Superstition, until it chooses to spend it on a roll and gain a penalty equal to the roll. So the creature retains it for 10 minutes, the same as normal Bardic Inspiration. Whilst it holds on to the Bardic Superstition die, it's subject to one of the following effects of your choice. The first one, Luckless Pariah, which gives them the superstition that its allies are sort of bad luck to it. So whilst under the effects of that one, it cannot willingly move towards creatures it considers allies, can't target allies with spells or abilities. So again, this would be a great one to apply to, say, like, I don't know, enemy clerics or anyone that's giving out buffs or healing. And whenever an ally moves within 5 foot of them, they must use their reaction to make an opportunity attack against that creature. That's as long as it's holding onto the die. The other one is Fell Numbers. So, like, you know, this is all built off the idea of certain numbers having bad luck. So whenever a creature rolls a 9, 13, or a 17 on a saving throw or attack roll, the roll instead becomes a 1. Again, that's a weird one mechanically. I'm not entirely sure how balanced that is. Probably going to need to sort of have that be tested for a while to see and know.
Yeah, that's one of those ones that's quite difficult because that really fucks with the maths.
Well, I suppose if you imagine it as just, it expands the natural 1 range, and that doesn't necessarily mean they like fail the saving throw. It does with attack rolls, but not saving throws. Or does it with attack rolls? A natural one's always. I forget what the actual rules are because I've been playing with homebrew rules for so long.
Natural ones are automatically misses, and natural ones on saving throws don't matter functionally.
Okay. And then Whistler's Luck is you burden the creature with the superstition that whistling brings good luck. So they immediately start whistling, which means they can't talk, hide, or perform the verbal components of a spell. So the intent there is that you've got 3 options, all of which should sort of hopefully have some impact on the specific combat you're working with. And the way that they get rid of these die, so these effects are only whilst they hold on to them. The way they get rid of the die is they subtract it from 1 successful attack roll or saving throw they make. So I was sort of careful in the language there to make sure the DM couldn't just like spend it on a already failed roll to like negate it. They have to spend it on a successful roll, which means like these effects, they might get rid of them immediately, but it might mean they miss an attack roll or a saving throw, which is like a nice benefit. And especially as you gain levels as a bard, and inspiration becomes slightly less of a like hoarded material, because what I'm not sure what level you get them back on rests, like short rests. Is it 6 or 5? I can't remember. Yeah. And obviously because the way like NPC stat blocks and monster stat blocks work, they have a limited amount of action economy. Like all characters do, but because of that, the GM is trying to make their turns really count. And a lot of the rider effects you have in monster stat blocks ride on attack rolls. So it's like the GM could try and like hold out and put up with these effects for the entire fight if they wanted to, or they can just potentially ruin an attack or a saving throw. There's again hard to balance for, because this is all about gambling, right? The same way inspiration is like, do I spend it? Do I not? But at least this way, the longer they keep hold of it, maybe not wanting to spend it, the more they'll be impacted by the effects of it. And then at 6th level, you get Fear of the Known. So by 6th level, you've learned to craft superstitions of such potency that they can shake the timbers of even the most stoic foe. Whenever a creature misses an attack roll or fails a saving throw as a result of your bardic superstition, it gains the frightened condition until the end of its next turn, treating both you and the creature who prompted its saving throw or who is the target of its attack as the source of its fear. The purpose of that as a feature is kind of twofold. Again, it's to incentivize them to not spend the bardic superstition and to keep these effects going. And it's also so that there's like a nice rider as like another condition that feels like thematically relevant, but hopefully isn't too potent. Yes, yeah. Like now they can, but they'll be scared, right? Which is gonna, I think, as a standard, like frightened condition, can't move closer to any of the sources and has disadvantage whilst on attacks whilst within visual range. And then the capstone, because bards only get 3 features because like it is a very strong subclass. I mean, a very strong class. But the capstone of the subclass is favored by ill fortune. So 14th level marks the culmination of your mastery in the art of superstition, allowing you to stoke your allies with inspiration as you sow the seeds of fear within their enemies. Whenever you gift a creature a bardic superstition, all allied creatures within 15 foot of that creature receive a bardic inspiration die equal to a d4. So the point of that mechanically is to remove... It's to balance your subclass and class abilities out a little bit more so that you can use your core subclass ability without it completely removing an option to use your bardic inspiration. It means that you... Oh, hold on. You've gone quiet and I'm not scrolling. Whoops. We lasted a long time then before that happened. That was an hour. That was over an hour of this not being a problem. Okay. Hopefully, the scrolling's working now. I should have noticed the scrolling wasn't working. Go on. What were you going to say about favored by ill fortune?
Yeah, it kind of gives you a little bit of because using your bardic die for not support-based features can potentially feel a little bit not great as a bard. So this kind of gives you a little bit more of your supportness back again as a bard.
Yeah, totally. I think I'm happy with the layout of it, and I'm happy with the mechanics we've landed on. But again, I'm very excited to see this happens a lot, right? Which is that it's almost one of those ones that you can't nail down just by reading. It needs to be played as much as possible so that we can actually get a read on how it feels in play. Because it's going to vary very much DM to DM, right? Like some DMs are going to try and spend this stuff immediately, others are going to try and game it out. It's really going to depend table to table. So the more tables we have having a go at it, I think the better idea we'll get of how it lands mechanically.
Yeah, I actually think this is best if you give it to an already overworked and stressed DM, because then they just forget about it as much as possible, and then you get to be like, well, actually, you have disadvantage on this thing.
Yeah.
So you is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Yeah,
work really well on you.
Yeah, it would. Well, the thing is, turn to turn, I'd not want to. Every time I got a hit in or passed the saving throw, I really wouldn't want to. I don't want to give those away. So as long as it wasn't crippling my bad guy, I know I'd leave the effects running.
Yeah.
Even if they were screwing me a little bit.
Yeah, and also depending on the sort of player you are as well, because I know for a fact I'm definitely the kind of asshole player that would be like, you can choose to subtract a bardic die from this every time you hit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird one. It's got some. I think it's got some novel mechanics. There's nothing that does this in the same way that I know of. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be. I am really excited to see what the played feedback is like for it. But yes, those are the two subclasses from the latest playtest. Do we want to go over chat now and just have a catch up before we eat perhaps some of maybe get a preview of the upcoming stuff?
So, Kitsu, Path of the Zoomies Barbarian, wonderful name. Gonna add my own custom lore that a dinosaur were killed with a very angry dude with this subclass. Incredible. Just say movement in any direction. If you jump up, you jump up. If it's just a straight line, X distance in any line. Yeah, it is a weird distinction between pure movement and jumping.
Yeah, I think that's why I mentioned like maybe riding on like the existing jump rules, like instead of rewriting stuff. But I'll have to read through them and have a look.
Become the cannonball when you've run out of munitions in ship combat. That sounds rad as hell.
I would, yeah. Yep.
Perhaps the ship's hull keeps out cosmic radiation. I don't. That was probably in reference to there isn't a vacuum of space in Lodestar.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the hull will have like some relevance, but like your ship won't immediately start sinking.
Yeah.
If the barbarian decides to poke a hole in it. If you leap in space, is your fall damage / distance equal to the distance traveled between ships?
If you leap in, I guess you wouldn't take full damage if you leapt in ships. We're writing the ship mechanics right now, like hard going through them. And I'm sure gravity is going to come into it, so I'm sure there will be a mechanical answer to that maybe in the actual like finalized ship mechanics, because that is relevant, like in terms of how much of a bubble of gravity there is around the vessel.
Yeah, and whether we do the kind of Spelljammer plane of gravity, which means everything exists on a flat plane, or whether objects have gravity in space. It's a whole thing that we need to work out, because that fucks with the entire logistic
part at the minute, and the headache part is going to come after. It's going to be a back justification of whatever we think is the most vibey for the cinematics of the gameplay. Yeah,
and then we get to be like, well, how does that change space stations, for example?
Yeah.
Fell numbers gives a 20% chance of a crit fail.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, that might be too much in play. That might be too much. But again, it's a weird thing, because it's like if you do the math on that, and I'm sure there are lots of people that will do the math immediately and figure that out, that might mean you spend it quite quickly. On the other hand, if you just read the ability to me as a DM, knowing what I'm like, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I hadn't done that.
Right?
As a DM, I wouldn't do that maths.
Yeah. So it's tricky, but I do know DMs that would. So
yeah. Does Bane stack well with the Superstition subclass? Incredibly well.
Oh, I suppose it would for. Well, I mean it's weird. So fell numbers it wouldn't necessarily stack with, because it's whatever you roll. Maybe I should specify on the D20, but it's like obviously it's pre-buffs and.
But in terms of already reducing their chance to hit things.
Oh, true.
If you're reducing their chance to hit and pass things, and then, like, for example, say they've got disadvantage on all attack rolls for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then they do hit, and it's like, well, I really want fucking rid of this bardic die.
Yeah, true. And also, at the very least,
that is going to double down.
It lowers even if you're hitting, it will potentially lowers the amount you hit by, which increases the odds that the Superstition die would take you below the threshold and turn that into a miss or a fail, right?
Yes. I love the flavor and mechanics of the bard, but I struggle with why would you not immediately spend the die so creatures don't have to worry about the negative effects.
I think that's before. Was that before we started going through like fear of the known and stuff? Yeah.
I like the idea of debuffs, but I think it should focus a little more on lucky and unlucky items. The bard feels more like an enchantment wizard in terms of forcing various debuffs and making creatures change how they take actions.
I think that's a personal interpretation of class flavor, you know? Like, if that's what the bard is to you, that's dope. We can't really build a subclass around items. That's not... doesn't really work subclass-wise, at least for something like this.
Yeah, if we had access to the Artificer, I'd love to do like a Hex items Artificer.
God, that would be
rad
cool.
And sick.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's a bunch of stuff I'd love to do for the Artificer if Wizards would only let me pry it from their cold corporate hands.
Well, I think we're going to set up like a thing in the Discord, aren't we, for like unofficial official stuff that we can't
yes,
we couldn't provide in any of our official source books or on like our e-store or anything like that. Or at least we could apply it on the e-store for free probably. But stuff like Artificer subclasses and things like that would be stuff that's non-SRD that we just want to give away that works with the settings. I think we're going to set something like that up soon, just as a, I don't know, just to give you guys more stuff because we like making stuff and we love having it in your hands.
Superstition Bard. Hey pal, I wouldn't do that if I were you unless you want ghosts in your blood. Yeah, I think putting ghosts in people's blood is always a huge win from a Superstition Bard.
Yeah, I think the RP of the subclass feels very. Obviously, we've been very mechanic focused, but the RP of being a guy who just like magically makes people scared of things is like I like that. That's cool. Or like I mean, Whistler's Luck doesn't actually bestow a superstition that makes you scared or like not like a thing. It just convinces the person magically for a moment that they have to whistle, which is, you know, cool. Imagine going up against like a thieves guild.
I was gonna say that's also really fun if you've got like a sneaky monster.
Yeah, or an invisible monster, or like just like, yeah.
And it's like, I wonder where the sneaky rogue bad guy is.
Yeah.
And you just hear them whistling across the room.
Okay, cool. So these are the two currently being play tested. So if you want to go grab those in the Discord, you can. I'll put a Discord link in the stream description as well for anyone that's not already in the Discord. The playtest materials are available there, and then we release the playtest feedback surveys on the Lodestar backer kit page once a month.
Yeah. And just because I've seen a couple of people in the Discord and here, I think someone mentioned it earlier, there isn't really a feedback window for these things. We will always go back and reference the things. Obviously, if you provide us feedback with the fighter, for example, in 3 months' time when we've started working on something completely different, it's unlikely to be seen. But we still, before we add stuff to the final book, we will still be referencing those feedback surveys. So if you've only just had chance to playtest those things, feel free to go back and find those surveys. They will remain open for, I believe, indefinitely, because they're just Google surveys.
Yeah, and also to be fair, so coming up, in a moment we're gonna have a look at 2 subclasses that we've got coming up in the next playtest probably. But we are also going to be releasing some version of the ship rules very soon for playtesting, and that in particular will be. I'm not sure if it'll go out as a like monthly playtest or if we're just going to put it out as soon as it's available and playable. That will be basically open for as long as we possibly can because we really want people to like play the shit out of it, and really like rip it apart. So once that goes out, please pick it up, play it, run it by yourself if you can, or run it with other people. And yeah, if you give us feedback on that in a month, 2 months, that's not too much of a big deal. We just want it as much time on the table as possible for those rules, because they're obviously a lot more comprehensive than like a subclass would be.
No, Cam, there have not been any super related questions.
Thanks for bringing it up though. You can ask one if you'd like. Right, what do we want to do? Should we do the Oath of the Charter, perhaps? Or the Warlock?
I think that's the most... The Oath of the Charter is the most finished, because it doesn't have any placeholders in the spell list.
Cool. So we're just going to quick run these, because people are going to get them. We just want to have a brief peek at them.
These are just vibes.
These are pure vibes, nothing else. Right, let me find... Here we are. There we go.
I can't wait to find out Kits who's like screenshotted all of the features and then put together the subclass.
Okay.
Kits who are beloved.
So here is the Oath of the Charter, which in terms of vibe is a paladin subclass that draws its power from the agreement. We were imagining it as the agreement pirates make on a ship together, right? Like, or sailors would. In their sort of charter of rules. I suppose you could take the flavor out and apply that to any kind of like binding agreement between a fellowship would work. I'm
going to say a thing and I think you're really going to hate it. It's the Paladin Oath of Friendship.
No, it's not. Because it's more than it's the Paladin, the Oath of Ratified Comradeship is what it is. It's all about
if you've ever wanted your friends to sign a piece of paper claiming that they are definitely your friends, this is the Paladin for you.
So it's if not necessarily good lawful, it's just whatever the law, the letter of the law is, right? It's the opposite of the like Joshua Gibbs. They're more guidelines than actual rules. Not to a Paladin Oath of the Charter. They're rules, not guidelines. So we won't go too hard on the spells, I don't think, but this is the basic vibe. It does have an original spell in there currently. With the spells for these subclasses, we use SRD stuff unless we just happen to have a bunch of them written and ready to go. In the final publication, some of them might change. So let's have a look. 3rd level Channel Divinity. Do you want to talk through these, Aston? Because you wrote a lot of this stuff originally, but obviously we've worked on it together back and forth to like hammer it into shape as we figured out what we wanted.
So 3rd level with Paladins, you generally have a kind of big combat ability, and then also another like general utility, passive buff feature, or out of combat feature. So the two for the Charter Paladin are Divine Boarding Party, which again is less about buffing you specifically, is more about like allowing your allies to move and to run and to make their weapon attacks. And then Plunder Vision is just a really fun feature, I think.
Oh yeah.
And it, again, something else, if you look at all of our subclasses, we really enjoy taking features that maybe aren't great in a base class and fucking with them. So Plunder Vision buffs your Divine Sense ability for the next 8 hours and just allows you to see valuable objects, coins, objects worth more than 5 GP, and also allows you to detect those objects behind full cover. So even if they are within a chest hidden behind an enemy captain.
Yeah.
It's a real piratey subclass.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We haven't got the like the Tenets of the Oath done yet, because we'll get those lined up ready for the playtest. Weirdly enough, important to like, it's Paladin's the only class that has that, where the lore is as important as the I suppose Warlock maybe a bit as well.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But yes, we haven't got the Tenets written.
We haven't done them before yet.
Yeah, but the vibe is very much, you're bound by maritime law and the law of your charter rather than, I don't know, laws of humanity or
this
reasonable
is
behavior.
Unlikely to be a lawful good on most occasions.
Chaotic lawful? It could be. It could be
chaotic
lawful good. It's
Did
lawful
you just
good.
Invent a whole...
It could be good. It's good to the crew, and that's what really matters.
Yeah, true.
Okay, and then at 7th level you get Aura of Camaraderie. Again, this was one of those ones we went back and forth on, but we did just eventually settle on allowing your allies to take the help action as a bonus action whilst within your aura.
Because again, Paladin's very much hard. Like at 3rd level, you get Channel Divinity.
Yes.
At 7th level, you get an aura. At 15th level, you get a feature. At 20th level, you get your capstone.
Yeah.
They are very hard, firm rules in terms of what you can put into a Paladin subclass.
Yeah.
And doing an aura was one of the ones we went back and forth.
God, what was the original one? What was the version that we had first?
The original one I wrote was the ability to swap place in initiative.
Initiative, yes.
Which was fun, but you pointed out that it's probably only ever going to get used once to put yourself in the perfect.
Yeah, you use it round one, you wouldn't use it again probably. But a potential item or like I think a spell maybe we talked about for that. But this is always useful. It scales nicely in a weird way. Not that it scales mechanically at all, but a bonus action, help action will always be useful, no matter what level you are.
Yeah.
And then at 15th level, I'll read 15th and you read 20th because I'll save. You want to read 20th? I know.
Okay.
At 15th level, you learn to shoulder the burdens of your allies. Whenever an effect causes you to make a saving throw at the same time as other creatures within 30 foot of you, you can choose to gain disadvantage on that saving throw to grant a number of those creatures equal to your charisma modifier advantage instead. So this is sort of a like martyr kind of mechanic for saving throws. I think you'd had 2 written and one of them it was self disadvantage and the other one wasn't. And we landed on self-disadvantage because it lent a bit more into, like, the piety martyr vibe, right? Of, like, that feels paladin-y to give yourself
this one was
a debuff.
So shared burden was self-disadvantage. The other version was, like, kind of an inspiring victory type thing. Where
that was
if you succeeded, it would grant other people advantage by you succeeding on saving throws.
Yeah.
but that felt a little bit less paladin-y.
Yeah, and especially like to be fair though, I mean, you could. It feels like a glory vibe, right? Like that kind of vibe for a paladin.
Yeah,
like,
true.
Maybe for charter.
I think arguments could be made for both.
Yeah, either or. Yeah, 100%. But I think this one fell more in line with like part of the ship, part of the crew, didn't it? A bit more.
Yeah.
And then talk us through 20th level, Divine Charter.
Divine Charter. So at 20th level, you gain the ability to manifest the charter you've sworn your oath to. As a bonus action, you and up to 5 willing creatures of your choice within 30 feet gain the following benefits for a minute. So instead of, like a lot of paladins, instead of you transforming for a minute, it is kind of a whole party buff type thing. So this one, it gets a little bit weird, but stick with me. It works out pretty fun. The hit points of all affected creatures are treated as a singular pool formed of the sum of the total remaining hit points across each creature. When an affected creature takes damage, the number of hit points within that pool is reduced for all creatures. When this effect ends, each affected creature gains an even split of the remaining hit points rounded down. A creature cannot exceed its maximum hit points this way. So that's the first feature, which basically allows all of your hit points to be treated as one big pool. So rather than the wizard having 20 hit points and the paladin having 40, collectively you both just have 60 hit points.
And any damage to one of you reduces the pool for both of you. So if the paladin then takes 20 damage, the pool becomes 40, and it's the same for both characters. Maybe we might need a stipulation that says that if the pool is reduced to 0, all creatures fall unconscious or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Which can be a really big buff for creatures like wizards who generally have lower HP totals, but generally this will work out better for those than it will like fighters and paladins, because they are essentially sacrificing a portion of their percentage-wise hit points for the squishier characters in general.
Yeah.
Then the second feature is whenever you or an affected creature casts a spell or uses another ability that would normally expend a spell slot, other affected creatures may use their reaction to provide the required spell slot instead. So this allows the kind of sharing of resources between chartered players.
Mm-hmm.
There was also the caveat, because the original version I wrote didn't have uses another ability, but that would exclude Paladin's smite ability, which isn't something we want to do.
Yeah.
And then finally, once per turn, when you or an affected creature deals damage or restores hit points to another creature, you can increase the amount of damage dealt or hit points restored by an amount equal to twice the number of affected creatures. So again, that is very much just kind of a general buff that scales off how many kind of allies you've got going on. So it is very much kind of companionship and teamwork vibes rather than I'm the greatest paladin on the planet and I get an extra attack. Anything like that.
And all of these mechanics are like, again, it's one of those ones gonna have to test and see what happens. They feel like they're strong, but it is 20th level, right? This is like the capstone of gameplay kind of stuff, and a lot of the paladin subclasses, like, they do some incredible stuff at this level. So the hope is that this feels really strong, but isn't, too strong. You can't recast it using spells as well currently. I'm not sure if we'll change that, but that's what we've gone with at the minute, to make this is a one and done per day kind of vibe.
It's the power of friendship paladin. That's right.
Yeah.
They are the main character in the anime.
Oh well, no, because they could absolutely also be the sidekick, because they're just facilitating all of the cool stuff a lot of the time, which,
True. Yeah.
Okay, so that's Oath of Charter.
Oh no, to be fair, the Warlock is the main character in an anime. Dark and brooding.
That's true. That's so true. Okay, so that's the Oath of Charter, subject to change before release, but that's a little look at what we've got cooking at the moment there, and I will switch to the Warlock.
So Jericho, you would need, I don't know if the wording maybe needs a tweak on it, but basically, if I'm casting a 3rd level spell, so a fireball, and Connor is playing another class that has a 3rd level spell slot, he can use his reaction to provide my 3rd level spell slot.
We might,
So
maybe worth expanding on the word.
You are exchanging like for like spell slots. So if I want to cast Meteor Swarm, but I've already used my 9th level spell slot, and Connor's caster still has his 9th level spell slot, he can use his reaction to give up his 9th level spell slot so I can cast Meteor Swarm, for example.
Yeah, probably maybe worth a wording clarification there.
Yeah, for sure.
To make that clearer. Right, I think what we're going to do is we'll quickly go to the Warlock, have a peek at it, because I want to finish in the next 15 minutes or so. So we'll run through this one, and then I do want to just like peep Blightmore at the end. Not show the whole thing, but just have a look at it and say it's out and available and give people an idea of what it is. Warlock. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, that's the point. We need to be careful with Blightmore because players could end up watching.
Yes, yeah. We'll put a big spoiler thing in, and I don't know how many pages we'll show. Probably not all of them. Probably barely any of them really. I think we'll just talk to people a little bit about what it is and what the energy is.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the Pact of the Void Warlock. I need to change the scroll thing on here. You can see some of our design notes still currently in this. So you can this is an insight to what it looks like when we're writing stuff out.
Cats need spells. Yeah. That's generally notes that me and Connor make in the middle of a document we're sending back and forth a bunch. And has to be defensive.
Yeah, you might see question marks. I don't think there's any question marks in this, but whenever we're writing mechanics to show one another and send them back and forth, we'll write out a mechanic idea and then just put question mark to be like, madness in the dark, like, question mark?
It's like some of the spells I did, it's like a 3rd or 4th level, and I just haven't decided.
But all of these are sort of gaps that we're going to attempt to fill, probably with completely new spells that will obviously be included in the playtest if we do it that way. There's also, if anyone's got Fairy, there's probably a few spells in there that would work really well with this, but we didn't want to include them in Lodestar because either we'd have to reprint them or we'd rather just give new material for the new books. So the what's the vibe, Aston? Hit us with the vibe. Madness. It's the void, right? So it's not just, but we didn't want to do just darkness. We wanted to do more like void, right? So, like staring into the pitch black, making you go crazy, kind of stuff. Rather than it's a little bit eldritch, in vibe, rather than just pure shadow.
That's a good point, Kitsu. It's not meant to be 2024.
What isn't?
Kitsu's just pointed out an issue with the document. It has a 3rd level feature, which 2014 Warlocks don't.
Oh, okay. We can swap that out. It's fine. We can
that just needs to be a 1st level feature, is all.
Yeah.
Everything else is...
Did Kitsu lead with that by saying it's ew?
Ew 24 design level placement. Me and Kitsu have already bonded over our distaste of 24.
Okay, so hit us with it. So this would be 2nd level, not 3rd, right?
1st level.
1st level. Is it 1st for Warlocks? Oh, it is, yeah. You're right.
Yeah, because it's their patron feature.
Of course, yeah.
So, your magic becomes infused with the maddening darkness of the void. So, one thing that is super relevant and super important for this Warlock, we've got a new...
a new condition. That's true, yeah.
Which is the crux of this.
There might be more in the book than one, but there's definitely one, at least.
Yeah, so... Again, for those familiar with Fairy, it's similar to Hexed, where we kind of saw a gap in the features and conditions, so we kind of plugged something new in, because it's both something that we think should be kind of in the game anyway, and also it means that we can use it as shorthand for abilities and spells and things.
Yeah. Especially with the stretch goals we had, where there was a lot of like void spell stuff we wanted to do, and eldritch, like weird space eldritch magic gods to do, and this sort of stuff felt important to include.
Yeah, for sure. So the maddened condition is basically it's similar to Enemies Abound as a spell, which is essentially whenever you target a creature, you don't know if it's an enemy or an ally. So that could mean you end up targeting enemies for healing. It could also mean you target allies for negative spells. Things like that, where it's going to fuck with your targeting capabilities and knowing if you've got a good guy or a bad guy nearby.
Yeah. So I think there's not a write-up of it in this subclass, is there, currently? But the way it mechanically works is whilst you're maddened, you can't differentiate between allies and enemies. And if you want to target a creature with an ability or power or attack, you have to pick them randomly, essentially.
Yes. And so at 3rd level, your magic becomes infused with this maddening darkness. Whenever you cast a spell that targets an area of effect, it infuses that area of effect with magical darkness until the end of your next turn, which is also super useful for a warlock because they have the ability to take Devil Sight. When you cast a spell that targets a single creature, you can choose to create a 5-foot area of magical darkness centered on that creature until the end of your next turn. Again, that's just something because we know a lot of warlocks can be like action blasters rather than big AoEs. So we just want, again, both playstyles of a warlock to kind of fit within this subclass.
And they don't have, I think part of it as well was they don't have an insane amount of AoE options. Like obviously we'll include as many as we can in the spell list and stuff like that, but there isn't as many as other classes. So we wanted to include a way of you getting your subclass abilities off that didn't rely on a like either casting the same spell again and again and again, or like, you know, filtering through a somewhat meager list of options.
Yes. And then the kind of, so that darkness created by your spells and abilities kind of becomes the ferry for the kind of crux of the feature, which is whenever a creature starts its turn within magical darkness created by your spells or abilities, it must succeed on a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC or become maddened until the start of its next turn. So that interacts with kind of the additional darkness that we've provided, but also if you just cast like darkness, the spell, or if you have, like, for example, some of the non-SRD warlock spells like Hunger of Hadar and such create magical darkness. So it interacts nicely in a way that meant we didn't have to write non-SRD spells back into the game.
Yeah.
Then at 6th level is again, I really enjoyed writing the feature names for the Pact of the Void because I really got to lean into like my
so emo
mid 2000s emo music taste. So Darkness Ever Present is very Pride from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, if anyone's seen it. Which, whenever you're completely enveloped in an area of magical darkness, you know the exact location of any other creature that is also completely enveloped in the magical darkness. In addition, any spell or effect that originates from you can instead originate from any other point within the darkness. So it expands your kind of senses and capability out to fulfill the whole of the darkness in which you are.
Do you know what? I'm thinking maybe it's worth removing the word "the," so that if it's two separate areas of magical darkness, you can still use the benefit.
Ooh, that could be
as a way of like shooting around corners, or like just to expand the usage of it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, true.
That just popped up when you were reading it.
I will bold that. And
then it has to be
level.
Defensive.
Yeah, one thing I found while I was researching other subclasses, which is really funny because Warlock, my favorite class, I love it. I hadn't noticed this pattern that every 10th level feature for a Warlock subclass is always a defensive feature, whether that is resistance to a condition or damage type or like just general, this thing doesn't affect you anymore. But 10th level is always some form of defensive feature. So Gaze into the Abyss, again,
Classic.
incredible emo names. So starting at 10th level, your mind has become incomprehensible to those untouched by the void. Whenever you take psychic damage or fail a wisdom, intelligence, or charisma saving throw, you may choose to deal psychic damage to the creature that dealt the damage or provoked the saving throw. So basically, this is very much of kind of like a Thorns type defensive feature, very Armor of Agathis, where it's like, if you're going to do things to me, I'm going to deal damage back to you, so therefore I discourage
like
it.
a reactive defensive damage feature. Yeah, so less like doesn't like make the chance of you getting hit less or anything, or like buff you in any way. It just means that like
probably
hitting you
reduces
hurts.
the chance that probably reduces the chance they're going to do it again afterwards.
Yes, yeah.
And again, this very much lent on the kind of Cthulhu type. My mind is so twisted.
Yeah, if you target it with magic,
sort of connection with it.
Yeah,
that you're getting real fucked up.
Rad. And then Capstone.
Yeah, the Abyss gazes back. Starting at 14th level, your madness becomes infective. Whenever a creature maddened by one of your spells or abilities targets a creature, you may force that creature to also make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC, or similarly become maddened.
So this procs with the idea of like them not being able to, obviously the madden condition, meaning that there's a good chance they'll target their own allies with that.
Yes.
And if they do, you can choose to pass that condition on to them.
Which means if you have a whole horde of very unlucky saves, you could potentially madden an entire horde of creatures, which, unlike a lot of like charm spells and abilities, doesn't immediately make them not a threat. It just makes they could also potentially target their own allies as well as you.
Yeah.
So this is very much kind of like where the Gulock is mindfucky in the sense that it has a lot of control over creatures. This is mindfucky in the sense that it kind of unleashes cosmic madness onto creatures and just sets them off into the world.
We should maybe add a little bit of word in there that's like with a ability, spell, or attack, just so that like everything's before the final version, so we can outline it really clearly.
Also, similarly become maddened needs a time limit as well.
Yeah,
because otherwise they're just permanently maddened.
Yeah, that's true. Because currently it lasts until the start of its next turn, doesn't it?
End of its next turn.
I think it's start, right? Become maddened to the start of its next turn.
Yeah. Yes, because it happens on a turn.
Yes. Yeah, so you might, because this happens off their turn, it might be until it becomes maddened until the end of its next turn.
Yes. That's a point. Kitsu invocation idea, talking about like the different areas of darkness.
Well, Jericho mentioned that it would be cool if the Warlock could use the power of the Void to somehow steal spell slots from an enemy as a feature that replaces the regaining of spell slots during a short rest feature. That, again, I don't know if Kitsu was referring to that as the invocation thing, but I think that could work.
Maybe.
It's hard with the invocation. I mean, like, some custom invocations would be cool to throw in. We do have a lot of ideas like that would work as invocations, really.
Yeah, we did it with... I believe we did a couple with Tempest, didn't we?
I think maybe we did. I can't remember. We didn't do any with Fairy, I totally would have.
We also did
time and room.
Yeah, we also did a whole new Pact boon in Tempest.
Oh, we did, yeah. Oh, the black spot.
Yeah, the black spot.
Yeah. I'd forgotten about that.
Tempest is real good for anyone that hasn't read it. It's got some great ideas in it.
Yeah. Tempest is sick. Right, so those are the two upcomers. Let's have a look now, real quick. What time is it? Okay, we'll just spend a 5-minute peek at the Beast of Blightmoor. Let's see if I can get this entire cover on the screen all at once. There we go. Oh, what's that? Whoop. Nearly.
Really zoomed in.
There we go. Okay. I think hopefully if you give it a sec, it'll catch up. People should be able to see it.
There we go. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Beast of Blightmoor. So with every campaign so far, so with Tempest we did Escape from Dimshore, which was a like introductory adventure, and then with Fairy we were doing Beast of Blightmoor. And with Lodestar, which is what's the Lodestar one? I forget what that one's called. The Hunt for the Corsair. Is that the Lodestar one?
Yeah. Yes.
So for people who are like back to Lodestar but maybe didn't back Fairy, this gives you an idea of like what you can expect if you also backed the Hunt for the Corsair. But it's basically an introductory adventure. It's like a sort of supplementary adventure that we like. That's really cool for us to include with the book if we can, get it that far. Because it's always an additional goal to get these funded, just because they take so much work. It's like we can't have them be stretch goals.
At this point, we can check if it has been funded or not.
Oh, cool. That's cool. Yes, because it's on the pre-order store, isn't it? So this is the Beast of Blightmoor. So this is the fairy introductory adventure. This is Aston was lead writer on this one. So it's Aston's first publication under us that he spearheaded. And the vibe is a sort of mystery. Okay, I'm just gonna say spoiler tag for anyone who might play this instead of running it. Just gonna say that right now, loud and clear. I don't think I'm going to spoil anything huge because I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but just in case,
The Beast is the friends we made along the way.
It's a mystery adventure set in a sleepy little hamlet in the Kingdom of Autumn, which is one of the sort of 5/6 kingdoms in the feudal world of Celtic Fae wild that is fairy of our last source book. It's a sort of horror mystery adventure that is all about getting called to the town of Blightmore and dealing with some disappearances and the arrival of some strange dog-like monsters, including ghostly shucks and girt dogs, which anyone who backed Fairy and watched the streams around Fairy would probably know what a girt dog is. Because I got a lot of flack for not including it in the full book of Fairy, and now it's here now. Okay, it's here.
I know Kitsu was a huge fan of girt dogs.
There's lots of people who like girt dogs. It's here now. Okay. The pyrite worm isn't, but the girt dog is.
I really tried to get the pyrite worm into this adventure, but a level 1 to 3 adventure did not warrant a whole ass dragon, unfortunately. So maybe in Fairy 2.
So this is here's a look at Blightmore. Again, I'm just gonna quickly, I'm not gonna read any of this. If you don't want spoilers, don't read this. I just wanted to give a little look at the vibe inside the book, the art, the aesthetic that you can expect. Just a quick peek. Here's the first. We'll do the first couple pages. There we go. The adventure begins. Have a look at what you can expect. And here's a little look at the map. Here's some of the art I did. Aston did a really good job writing, and it's out now and it's available, so you can grab it on the e-store if you want to go have a look at that. Again, I'll put a link in the description of the VOD when it goes up. But I just wanted to highlight this. Aston worked really hard on it, and I put in a fair amount of work to edit it and get it up with some art and looking fresh. So yeah, go check it out. You don't have to run it in Fairy, but it does. It's built for Fairy, but you could adapt it however you wanted to. It's got some cool monsters and cool things and stuff. So yeah, this is the Beast of Blightmoor. Go on.
And a small insight: I did a version of this map that looks a lot worse than Connor's version, but unfortunately we didn't include that version.
Oh, do I have it on my thing? Can I show them it? Oh,
I
do.
Incredible map of Blightmore.
I do. This is a stream exclusive. I can totally show them what you drew. That you can. Hold on. Let me scroll to the page. Let me scroll to the page that has the map on. This is what we'll leave off on. This is great. Yeah, people can see how things.
Just
get
while
made.
Connor is finding this, I'm just going to mention. So, Hunt for the Lost Corsair. For us to make it, we need 300 people to add it on in their pledge manager or pre-orders. We are currently sat at 246, so we need 34 more.
So as long as we get that before fulfillment starts, we're good. I feel hopeful about that. I think I like this.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I'm gonna. So just everyone get this what you're looking at right now. Get that locked in your head. In fact, actually,
that's
I might
a professional artist.
Let me actually. I think maybe we can get them next to each other real quick and this.
Oh, don't do that. Yeah, you love this aesthetic of the artwork, Jericho, but wait until you see the better artwork.
Which one is it? Preview. There we go. That one. Where are we? Is that visible? Can I make that so I can get them both on here? Hopefully this works. There we go. There we go. Okay, so now you should be able to see what Aston's original, what he sent me, look like versus what ends up becoming.
Yeah, I think they're basically the same thing, and I'm going to be doing a lot more of the art for Lodestar, so you can expect to see a lot more of this style of artwork in the final book. It's going to be full of them. I'm going to do subclass illustrations. I'm also available for commissions if anyone wants to hire me as their character artist. I'll be able to do some real, with my years of expertise in doing art.
It seems like overwhelmingly people preferred your version, which I spent a long time honing my craft. There aren't enough words in the English language to describe how much it devastates me to my very core to hear people say that. I'm hurt. I'm crestfallen.
Release the Aston cut.
I sweat.
We need a limited
blood,
run
tears.
of Aston edition.
It's just so much work. It was so much work. It was. I really had to fight against the odds to make it this far as a creative. And it's crippling to hear people, even as a joke, talk that way about the work. It's hard.
Yeah, I think what we're getting from this is you just play with your pens and pencils.
It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it.
$1 million. See, Connor, I've already got an offer for $1 million.
Already going to make more money on one commission than I've ever made in my entire life, so that's good.
Yeah. Sick.
Well,
cool.
good.
I'll send you my bank details, a jackal, and then
a good note to end on. I'm glad we did this. This is a really I feel
so
good.
actually, Connor, I am handing in my notice from the Dragon's Vault.
Oh.
I'm gonna make my name as a freelance illustrator in the space.
Well, I don't want to stand in the way of that. And if the audience is there, they're there at the end of the day, right? Like build it and they will come. And sometimes they'll come even if you've done nothing to build it, and that's also fine, I guess.
So you're welcome for all of the great work that I've already done for you. But man,
thanks so
I
much.
Can't wait till I do a book on my own and it looks entirely like this.
I mean, unironically, if you wanted to do the 200+ illustrations it takes to make a source book, I would love to see that. I would love to see what you came out with in the end. I actually really would. If it didn't mean that you wouldn't be able to do any of the other work we need you to do, I'd pay your wage to do that. I really would. It would be great.
The Aston cut of one of our source books.
If it didn't mean the business just immediately fell 1,000,000% to me, I would do that, right? If we ever become millionaires, maybe that's something you spend a couple months on. Would be fun.
Sick. Sorted. You all heard him.
Yeah. If Tempest ends up, getting an updated version this year, like we're hoping maybe it will. Maybe you do all the art. Maybe all of the updated artwork.
I'll do the Aston cut of Tempest.
Oh my god.
All of that time you spent learning how ships work just to be able to draw them. Nah.
God.
Vibes.
Yeah. Someone got in touch with me the other day to commission me to do airship design for their tabletop project they were working on, and it boggled my mind that would even be possible, given how much I hated painting ships a couple of years. Like, with the very, very fiber of my essence, just every single time I had to paint rigging, just like I could feel the cells in my body dying from boredom.
Yeah, there was a big moment. With every kind of source book, there becomes a moment at the end where we're kind of just waiting on a few more illustrations. And so Connor has to go back and do the ones he's been putting off for the entire time. And
they're always the best ones as well, because I've had the most experience by that point.
And with Fairy, a lot of it was like the bestiary, because honestly did way too many monsters for Fairy, and you're all welcome. And for Tempest, it was just a bunch of ships. And the
So
amount of
many
DMs
boats.
I've had that are just
Stupid
like,
fucking
I have to draw
boats.
one more fucking
Stupid
shit.
boats.
And then we decided to do a whole new backer kit campaign.
It's just all boats.
A bunch more boats.
It's just boats and boats and boats. And now I'm potentially going to get paid just by someone else to just do more boats.
Yeah, yeah. We really like boats.
No.
I don't know how they work. I think they're magic.
No, I think I've been Stockholm syndromed into liking boats.
It's fine. I'll draw them.
Well, the
If
thing
the guy
is, listen, this is
dragon's
I'll make
fault
this
and not
point
you.
and then we'll leave it and it's fine. If you draw a tree, right, no one really knows if it's a good tree or not, right? As long as it looks tree-ish, it's good, it's fine, it works. If you paint a boat, every fucker on the planet knows if you've put the windows in the wrong place or if the ropes don't make sense, you know? Like, even you, even like as the person doing it, if I don't sail boats, but if the sails are wrong, I know something in my your brain knows. It's hell. Anyway,
Connor really likes boats, guys.
I need to meditate before bed. I'm all wound up. Right. Thanks everyone for stopping by, or anyone that's listening to the video on catch up. We're gonna try and maybe do these once a month. We'll see what happens. No promises, but you'll get notifications if and when we're streaming again. And if you ever have any questions for us in the meantime, you can hop into our Discord where there's lots of discussion to be had, and other stuff. There's loads of like cool mechanical things in there. The playtests are in there. There's lots of cool shit. I hope I'm selling this well. I don't think I am. This was like when we were on the podcast with Jasper, and I got punted to me to pitch it, and I just can't.
Wait, hold on. Something. I know what we can end on.
Go on.
Connor, everyone wants to know, what is your favorite soup?
I've already said this before, right? I think I already said this before. My auntie used to make a really good country vegetable soup. That when I was at university, like she would send me them occasionally, or like I'd go and get them and freeze them. And it was like parsnip and root vegetable soup, and it was kind of like chunky and nice, and brothy and soupy. Anyway, it was really good with like fresh bread.
Good choice.
There you go. There you go. That's my answer. And I won't be. Please don't ask me again because I will take it personally. If you do,
we're going to add it to Connor's bio on the website.
Oh gosh. Right. Thank you, everyone.
Have a wonderful Sunday.
Hopping in. Yeah, and hope I have a wonderful next week, the rest of your week, rest of your month. It's nearly spring. Spring is nearly sprung. Things are looking good.
Thank God.
Honestly. And again, I don't want to just like lean into the stereotype of British people too much and harp on it endlessly. It has not stopped raining here. And not in a fun, whimsical, stare out the window, pain kind of way, in a like seasonal depression way. Brutal. It fucking sucks.
And on that note, everyone
No, but it's gonna be good. Everyone have a lovely time. I'm just really glad you're here. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.